I grew up in a two-parent household with two parents who wanted me and adored me and my brother. Okay.
She said,
And I have to put emphasis on
plans,
that
our
because
first plans.
no, I have to put emphasis on that. And I say that because so people, first of all, when you're reading people will say anything, right?
Yes, yes.
And for some people, it is a read when you're just like, well, that's why your mama don't love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
when
yeah.
you really go home and think about that, and you really sit and think about that, your parents are really and truly the first two examples of what
Yeah,
the human experience is.
supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, and your mother is supposed to be your first love. And I know people right now who literally are just like, my mother hates me, my mother is jealous of me, my mother never
Yes,
liked me, my
yes,
mother pimped me out when I was
yes,
X
yes.
amount of, you know what I'm saying? And so when I look at my situation, I just told my mom this the other day, like, I thank you because I gave you a hard time for a short time, but I gave you a hard time. Sorry, somebody was trying
You
to
get a
call me.
phone call?
It's because you were
Yeah.
trying to save my life. And they know I'm in an interview. But it was because you were trying to save my life. You were trying to make sure that I got to certain points in life because I know people that I grew up with, they didn't even make it to 18. And to me
Yes.
now at 36, like that's the blessing in it. So just a little backstory. Grew up in a two-parent household. My dad worked for the University of Georgia at the time. My
Mm,
mom was a school teacher, eventually became an assistant principal.
wow.
She was the minister of music at my home church. My dad started out as a deacon, eventually became a pastor. My
Oh, I love
grandmother
this.
was the
Oh,
choir director.
I love this already. Wonderful.
So church was like church. You were going to church. That was a non-negotiable. You were going to church and you were going to college. Those were the two. And from as early as two, I remember running around the house singing. I remember
Mhm.
my mom was the gospel person, so I didn't really know my mom to play R&B, but my mom was big into Daryl Coley, the Clark
Ah,
sisters, Mississippi
ah,
Mass, Kirk
mm.
Franklin. We would always listen to Kirk Franklin on the way to school. My dad was more into the secular world. My dad used to play behind Parliament Funkadelic.
Mm.
But my dad also was a trumpet and a saxophone player. My mom, like I said, plays keys and she's a singer. My dad's a singer. And so I got,
Oh yeah.
like
Oh,
I
you.
said,
Oh, okay. You was born with this. Okay, makes sense.
yeah, like I got the best of all the worlds. Like I
Yeah,
got
yeah. It
Elton
makes so
John, I
much
got
sense.
yeah, I got
Absolutely.
Elton John, I
Yes.
got Parliament, I got
Yes.
Spyro Gyra, I got do you
Wow.
remember what's the group? Oh my god. Do you remember the Ohio players?
Yeah. Oh,
Like that
yeah.
was a whole like that whole era was just such a
I
vibe,
love
which is why
it.
I'm stuck in like 60s, 70s, 80s, and
Oh, I
early
can't wait
90s
till we
and
do
current
this segment
now.
later. Oh, I can't wait. Okay. Oh, yes. I can't wait. Okay.
So my mom, when I wasn't riding to school with her, I was riding the bus. Like I definitely lived in a black neighborhood, but I had cousins that lived in the hood. So I definitely got the best of both worlds. My mom did not want me in the projects, but my daddy was more like, just be careful. If something happens, call me. You go to the corner store, you get, a bag of Lay's potato chips for $25. I mean, for 25 cents. This was during, right, no, for 25 cents. This is during the
Yes.
era where gas was
Yes.
89 cents. And
Yes.
so, like, this
Those
was
were
a good
the days.
time.
Yes.
Yes, and I remember being in church. My dad, like I said, my dad was a singer, so that was part of the reason why I wanted to sing. But I also remember watching Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross and Stevie, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like the way they sing, like it's so effortless. I want to do
Yes.
it too.
Yes. Amazing.
And you're sitting at your birthday party, and my grandma, who is also a preacher, is like, I'm gonna teach you this song and I want you to sing it. And I'm like, okay, out. You're
What was it?
great.
What song was it?
Lord, I know I've been changed.
Can you give,
And
give us give it real quick? Give a snippet of that, DJ.
I know I've been changed. So that's just a piece of it because it's Sunday. Some people that did not go. And I
Shout
didn't
out to
sing it
the
that way then.
Pacers. Shout out to the
But
Pacers. Yeah.
that's how we started. That's how I started singing. And my parents were really big into education. They were always like, you can sing at any point in your life. But you got to go to school. You got to go get an education. You got to go to college. You got to finish. And at the time, as a lot of this generation will tell you, at that time we were told, you go to school, you
Yeah,
graduate, you get a car, you get a job. Well, you get a job, you get a car, you get a house, and then you get married, and then you
the
have
American
kids, and then you
dream. Yeah,
retire. There's an order,
yeah,
but as we can see, that's not
that's always
you
the
know
case.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's not always the case. So for me, education was I was always an AB student. My parents didn't play that. Like I said, my mom worked at the school that I went
Oh,
to all the
right.
way up until sixth
Yeah, no,
grade. Yeah, and then like I said, my dad used to teach school, so middle school and high school, all of my teachers, for the most part, if they were not friends of the family, they were my mom's sorority sisters, my dad's frat brothers. They
yes,
were
you have
all
all that around
freshman born.
you.
Yeah, they were
Wow,
former
yeah.
co-workers of my parents. They knew my parents, and so really and truly
But you didn't
growing
feel the
up
pressure. I
in
know you felt the pressure, DJ.
oh God, I felt the pressure
Yeah,
until my freshman year of college, and
yeah,
that's
I can
when
imagine.
it
We'll get
went
into that
left.
more, but I know it has to be a lot of pressure right there.
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
But I will say it just growing up in Clark County, I could not do anything. I felt like I couldn't do anything because it was like at every block somebody was watching. And my parents knew. I'll never forget I got into it in high school, my freshman year. I almost got into a fight over somebody that was not even interested in me or the person I was about to get in a fight with. But we were in a math class. Mind you, this math teacher is a childhood friend of my uncle and my aunt. She is now my mom's current boss. My mom got an email
What?
and I came home and she was like, "Well, how was school?" I was like, "It was fine." And she's like, "You got any homework?" I was like, "I did it already." Typical stuff, typical teenage stuff. And she's like, "So would you care to explain to me about this little squabble that you had in so and
Mhm.
so's class?" And I'm like,
Like she's
"Here
not
we
going to
go."
find out.
It's always the thing. So I tried my best not to really get into any real trouble. And I didn't until freshman year of college, went off to school, and they were like, "You gotta go to class." I was like, "Class? Who wants to do
What's
that?" Like,
that?
girl, pass me a bottle. Pass that bottle of gin, pass that bottle of Everclear. We finna get drunk at before 12, and then we finna chill out because tonight we got to go to the club. And we would be in the club all night until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, go to Arby's, and then go to class.
Uh,
And my grades
yes,
reflected it. So I
he was
definitely like
rebelling.
I didn't give my parents that hard of a time, but I definitely music was always at the centerfold of everything. That was
Yes,
what I was supposed to do. And my parents were like, I don't know what else to tell him. Like, he needs to get a
right.
real job. They would have people come over and talk to me like he needs to get a real job. Like he needs to get a real thing.
In
This
the
is not
meantime,
real.
mhm,
But I understand now why it
mhm.
wasn't real because you hadn't seen it. It
Well,
didn't become
mhm.
real for a lot of my family that you actually can make a living doing music until I started doing backgrounds for Kelly Price. And that's when they started doing the deep dive into everything else that I was doing. And it was like, oh, so this is really a thing.
This is a,
Yes.
yes, it's real. It's real.
Yeah, it's real. And so I'll tell anybody, regardless of what it is, I don't care if you're writing a book, if you want to be the first one in your college in your family to go to college, whatever it is, if it's real to you, then it's real. You just
Mm-mm.
have to make other people believe it.
Absolutely. That's the word. You know, you just been preaching now. You've been preaching today.
No,
I'm
listen, when I tell
still,
you,
I'm still
I'm
in
not
church.
in it
I'm
to
still
preach
in
to
church.
nobody, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I have lived some stuff and I'm
Yes.
nobody's granddaddy, but I have definitely lived and seen some stuff in these 36 years of life that I could tell somebody like, hey, do this or hey, don't do that. So
Yeah, but absolutely. But I mean, because we all can learn from each other. I mean, each one teach one. So that's how I feel about that. But I want to go back a little bit, DJ, because I like to hear about the elementary, junior high school phase, because
yeah.
that's a pivotal time in everyone's life that we don't talk about. And I like to hear the stories that I receive. You know, as I always talk about how in elementary, junior high school, that's a level of self discovery when it comes to exploring your anatomy. You're going through puberty. You know, you may have some acne. You're developing your social skills. You're humping in the staircase.
Well, I wasn't
You're
doing
getting
that.
into
Let me
the
be very clear.
but you know, like I said, that's a part of it may or may not. I was like saying it. You know, I like to put it out there. You know, but so what was that experience like with junior high, elementary and junior high? And I know that I know you started owning your crafting at that time with the music.
So what's funny, I'm gonna say this. What I'm about to tell you, what my grade school experience, y'all are not gonna believe what my grade school experience was, because I have this huge personality, but I really was not that person then.
You were shy.
I was very shy. I did not have many friends. Like I remember being
I can
in
believe it.
elementary school, like being by myself during recess. Like the boys would be playing basketball, the girls be over here jumping rope. My mom did not want me hanging around a whole bunch of girls, but they were the ones that were trying to be my friends. They were actually nice to me, whereas I was being severely bullied by
Mm-hmm.
these guys. And
Mm-hmm.
granted, you being a kid and you just like they be like, oh, we want to play football. You don't want to play football. Your favorite color is pink. You like Pokemon, and you have a Lion King lunchbox. Like I'm a kid. Like I really was a kid. So when we talk about like humping in the stairwell, like I didn't do that. Like I'm a change the tone real quick, but then we gonna brighten it right back up.
Sure. Yeah.
As somebody who was taken advantage of at
Okay.
15,
Yeah.
that opportunity to have my say was robbed from me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
And
sorry.
so no, it's okay, things happen, but I will say that is a very serious thing. And if your child, I don't care who it is, because in my
Yes.
experience, nobody
Mhm.
believed me.
Yeah.
So if
Oh,
somebody
that's the
comes and
worst.
says to
That's
you,
worse.
you know what I'm saying?
No,
So like if
it's worse.
somebody
That
comes and
you
tells you
told
that
me,
somebody
I can't
touched
believe
them,
you. Yeah. I don't
believe
know.
your child.
Yes.
Some kids will lie about it, but the majority are not making
No,
that
they're
up.
not. No.
But I was severely bullied in school. I was severely bullied in school, and I think what saved me was the fact that I actually could sing. Why am I getting emotional about this? But yes, like
That's what
I really
do
could
that.
sing.
Do
I
that.
think because I'm so passionate about this type of stuff, like I'm so passionate about the kids and just like I would never. I some of the stuff I see in the news now, I literally just I have to put the phone down because I'm like, but yes, I think that's what saved me. Just the fact that I was able to sing in grade school because that's what the people wanted to hear. We'd be on the playground. I'm playing by myself, but they'd be like, "Come over here, sing this song." And at the time, the song that was popular was I believe I can fly by R. Kelly.
Hmm.
And so like they want me to sing that. If it wasn't that, middle school, the song everybody wanted me to sing was Can't Give Up Now. And I went to a totally different middle school than the
Mm.
kids I went to elementary school with. By that point, they were doing zoning, so those kids went to school on the east side. I went to school on the west side to the school that was right up the street from me. So a lot of the people did not know. My close friends knew because I'm still a little shy. I hadn't come into myself yet. So I'm still shy, still being bullied through middle school. Just trying to find my lane. And eighth grade hit and we were at recess. We were getting ready to graduate, and we were on the playground. Somebody asked me to sing something. I think, like I said, "Can't Give Up Now" by Mary Mary or something like that. We're singing on the playground, and everybody's like, "Oh my god! Like you can sing!" And they're like, "You've been sitting on this whole time." The whole time. What's the movie Mrs. Doubtfire? The whole time. So that's how we came into that. High school was a little different. High school was definitely
What high school did you go to?
discovery. I went to Clark Central High School.
Mm.
Um, I said I wasn't gonna bring her up. But if you're familiar with, she's been on Wild and Out. She was King Magazine's web girl back in like 2009, I believe, 2009, 2010. I went to school with Shanika Adams, like the people. The Migos, like they used to be
Oh,
around us
okay.
when we were kids. So like though,
Okay.
like we hung around them. We'd be at Bishop Park on a Sunday. Like that was the vibe. And so even in high school, so little backstory, because church was paramount, my parents would censor what we would listen to. Funny story, when Kaya's My Neck, My Back came out, never forget, it would come on the radio, my neck, my back. Before she could even get to the lick, my mama would cut that radio off and be like, no, not my child. Even Britney Spears, like I was such a Britney Spears fan, and my dad would be like, I don't know, this is a little risque, So high school hit, and that's when this is during the era of like mixed CDs, and you call your friend, and for $5 they'll go and burn you a CD, download the music, whatever, whatever.
Yes, yes. God, thanks a lot for aging me, DJ.
Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. It was such a good time, such a good time. And I started getting into like not just what was current, but like what was hot in the early 90s. So like I'm discovering Destiny's Child, I'm discovering the writings on the wall and like the
Yes,
deep cuts. I'm
that's
discovering,
that's some good stuff.
Janet
Good stuff.
Jackson's Control.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
discovering Mary J. Blige. I'm discovering Usher. And so this is when we get into the musicality of how I started building my musical ear. I was in the band, I was in the orchestra. I played violin, I played the trumpet. I went out to be a cheerleader. I did not make it
yeah.
because
Oh, in high school.
in high school and in college, I did not make it because I was not getting up there doing no backflips and I could not dance. And so there you have it. What else? I'm trying to think. I was in the chorus.
Yes.
I was in every
What?
choir, any
Oh,
choir you
okay.
could think of. I was in it.
Wow,
I made
that's
it to all
amazing.
state. Like I was really doing the things because
How
I was
did you
like,
manage? How did you juggle that between your creative and academia? How did you balance that? Because your parents don't play.
so here's how I juggled my academics. I got in trouble freshman year. This is during the era where like MySpace wasn't even a conversation then. Black Planet was the
Ooh,
paramount social
Black
media
Planet.
platform.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
when you had to use HTML to
yeah.
design your page and whatever. And I remember I had gotten in trouble for being in those chat rooms on
You was
AOL and
fun.
Yahoo Messenger. And
Yes, yes.
I came home from summer school. I had to go to summer school that year because I failed Algebra 1. I was already struggling in pre algebra, but Algebra 1 hit and it tanked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'll never forget. I don't remember his name. Yes, I do. I don't remember his last name. His first name is Ira. But he was the sheriff at the time, and I'll never forget. He came to our house to talk to me about being in these chat rooms and whatever.
Why?
And then
Why was he talking to you about that?
I was being grown. I was being at 14. I was
Oh,
being
14.
grown.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I was being grown. Now that's not how I got taken advantage of. That's a whole different conversation. But I was being grown in these chat rooms on Black Planet. This is when you could get the telephone numbers out of the back of like the Source magazine or out of the back of Double XL, and you could call the chat line. And oh
Yes,
my gosh, listen, you be talking to
yes.
everybody.
Yeah,
You be
you
talking
bring
to everybody.
this DJ. This is what when I want people when I want to bring up these backstories. This is what I'm talking about. This nostalgic stuff. I'm loving it. Go ahead. This is what I'm talking
Oh
about.
my lamb, this was such a
This is what I
time.
want to hear.
Yes,
Yes.
this was such a time. And I remember him saying to me, he said, if you don't remember anything that I tell you in this conversation, I want you to know that whatever you do your freshman year of high school, that is going to set the tone for the remainder of your of the remainder of your high school career. And even some of those characteristics and habits will transfer over into your collegiate career. And when I tell you that scared me, because I didn't want to be a second year senior. I didn't want to do like I think that was
Right.
everybody's fear
Right.
at that time. Is like being a second year senior. It's like all your friends have graduated and you got to come back. Like I didn't want that for my life. So I was like, let me just do what I got to do. You know, whatever I want to do outside of school, like it will be there. But let's finish. And my junior year, the summer of my junior year, getting ready to go into my senior year of high school, I started interning at this radio station, and they gave me this early morning gospel show. Like I had to be at the radio station like at 3 in the morning, and I would be there from like 3 to 9, just enough time for me to go home, wash my
Mhm.
tail, and put on my clothes so I could be in church for Sunday school, and then we can go to devotion and the rest of service. So like I really was out
You
there. So that's where I got in my gospel
early in the
bag.
morning, like wee hours of the morning, crack of dawn. They always had to do it. They always do that.
But you know what? I will tell you, I developed a love for broadcasting. I think that's why I love doing like podcasts and YouTube now. Because at the time, YouTube wasn't the thing. Like YouTube didn't come until probably the year after. But that's where you started to really get into, like I said, the bag of MySpace, and you're seeing all of these different social media platforms, Bebo, High School Club, like you had the things at the time, and it was like the quality of life was a lot different. It was a lot
It
different.
was yes, yes.
um let's see. All right, what happened after that? All right, now I'm like I said, I'm bouncing around towards the events. but I graduated in the top 25% of my high school class. So that happened.
Nice.
And I was not focused on going to school. I was focused on being famous. I was like, when I graduate from high school, I'm gonna go to New York and I'm gonna be famous. Like I'm gonna have this illustrious music
I was
career.
just like that. You just decided,
Just
oh,
like that. Like I'm
yes.
gonna run into Jimmy Iovine and Ron
Yes.
Fair, and they're gonna sign me, and I'm gonna be the next thing, the next hot thing since Keisha Cole. And that was all it was. It was written. It was gonna happen. Well, like I said, that summer was when I really started to give my parents pushback
Yeah, yeah, but
because, like I said,
go straight to college from there because there's always that pressure, like you said. High school, college. I'm surprised. So your parents didn't give you that amount of pressure, or you just was like you said that.
oh, so let me add this in here, and I'm gonna add on to the pressure that it was. I am the first child, the first grandchild on both sides.
Get
I
out.
am the first nephew on both sides. I am the first everything. And so being that child where everybody's so invested and involved and everybody's got an opinion, everybody's like, well, this is what I think you need to do. I think you
Oh
need to
yeah.
go, I think you need to go into the military because you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have any structure. Yeah, I think you need to go over here because this is where the family went, or you need to go here because we know people over there. And
But
I
was it what
was just like,
but it's not about what you want.
but what about me?
Yeah, yeah.
What about what I need? What about me? Come on, Effie. But what
Right.
about me?
Yes.